Welcome everybody. My name is Mary Burnett. I am your astrologer back with the Astro Lesson of the Week. And this is for the week beginning July 1st, 2024. So welcome to the second half of the year already. Unbelievable, I know. So we will break it down day by day. But if you're new to my channel, please be sure to click on that subscribe button below. And please share my information with those that you think would benefit from it. And if you haven't done so yet, go out to my website, marileyburnett.com, and also become a subscriber there. Then you will receive all of my articles for free, where I cover the entire month of July, for instance. And in that month of July, you will see the breakdown of the new moon in Cancer and a very powerful second full moon in Capricorn. So going out and subscribe so that when I send that out to my mail list, you are included. And of course, that's all free. All right, so we will break it down day by day. I'll try to move through this a little quicker so that we can spend a little bit more time talking about the upcoming new moon, and I'll break it down by sign so you have some idea. And of course, if you want to know for sure, book a session with me. I do have a very affordable new moon offering out there under my special offers, and I'd love to work with you. All right, so let's get started. I have us, of course, looking at July 1st, which is Monday. And on Monday, if you're, again, new to what I cover here, when you look at the chart, anything in red is energy that is a bit difficult and can create challenges. And the blue energy is energy that's supportive to whatever it is that you're working on. And so if you need extra help, you want to tune into the energy that's highlighted in blue. The bolder the line, the more direct the impact is. So that just gives you a sense of what it is that you'll be working on or working with. So you're going to notice there's nothing bolded on Monday. So we are going to move on to Tuesday. But before I do that, did you know that it's good luck to say rabbit, rabbit immediately when you gain consciousness on the first of every month? So the number one, of course, is all about new beginnings. So this is a new month. Rabbit, rabbit welcomes in good, positive, lucky energy. So just think of that as soon as you wake up next Monday. All right, let's take a look at Tuesday, because this is where you're going to see a lot of bold energy. So we're going to spend some time talking about this. Now, this happens to be my solar return chart. Now, the solar return happens when the sun comes back to the point it was in the sky when you were born. And that isn't necessarily your birthday. My actual birthday is July 3rd. But my sun is at 11 degrees. And so that actually is going to happen on July 2nd. So then we look at a snapshot of the chart at the exact time that the sun returns to the place it was when you were born, and that creates your solar return chart. Now, that is a chart that gives you an idea of the themes for the year ahead and what you will be working on. So that is a great one to take a look at if you've never done that before. And I typically see the energy start to show up, the shifts and the changes, about 3 months before your actual birthday. So, okay, let me move on from that. But just so you know, that is a really great reading if you have done a natal chart, but you're thinking, what else can I do? That's a really great one to do, and it's great for planning. So as we look at Tuesday, as I mentioned, there are a lot of bold lines. Significantly, the sun in Cancer, so the sun represents what we want to shine a light on, how we shine a light in the world. It's our ego self, what we feel makes us a success, right? And the sun in Cancer is one, especially here, like in this 11th house, that really enjoys caring and nurturing for other people, especially your friends. So you are the kind of person that welcomes friends into your home, and you get great joy from taking care of them. Probably also have friends that help make a difference in your life. benefactors are also your 11th house. So when we have the sun squaring the nodes of fate, so it's squaring down here to the south node in the second house of, for this chart, which is actually my chart, pretty close, the second house of the money you make, your self-worth, then the north node's in the 8th house, which is money that you receive from other resources, investments, taxes, tax refunds. If you have a partner, this is your partner's income. The north node is where we're heading, the lessons we're learning to grow stronger. Aries is a very strong fighting sign. And the south node's where we've been, what we've already experienced. And so we don't want to stay stuck with the south node, but we do want to learn the lessons from it. But there's something about our fated journey with the sun in Cancer that is creating a need for change. It could be something to do with your family, something to do with your friends. Of course, it depends on where this is happening, what house is highlighted for you, but it's a fated change. Now, the sun is how we shine a light, right? So sometimes this can have to do with the work you do, the career, your reputation. So there's something significant that needs to change, and your best bet, if you need to change, is to do something different today. Make a difference yourself. So then we have all this blue energy, trines and sextiles show up in the blue. And the sextile energy is energy that's really easy and simple. So at the moment that I have this showing, we see that Mercury is moving into the sign of Leo. So now Mercury helps influence our conversations, and Leo's much more fun and energetic. It is being on stage with your voice, for instance. So it is speaking in harmony with the moon in Gemini, where it has just entered on Tuesday. And so this is your mind, the Mercury energy, and your emotions, the moon, working together to help guide you to make up your mind, to make a decision. And it would say that if this was your birthday chart, that you would have Mercury and the moon working in harmony for you for the whole year, really helping you speak with emotion, use your intuition, come up with good plans because you're being guided and you listen to your intuition. Then we have this energy of, I'm going to show you all three. So the moon in Gemini is sitting next to Jupiter in Gemini, and that grows and expands. Now the moon moves pretty quickly. So by the end of the day, the moon's going to be even closer to this Jupiter energy, which is, of course, very, very beneficial. And the moon is speaking in harmony with Pluto and Aquarius. So this is the energy of working with other people, creating transformation as a result of the work that you do with other people. So that's really positive. Wherever we have a trine, we need to apply ourselves. So again, trust and listen to your intuition on this day. And the third energy that connects to the moon and Mercury is Neptune. Now, Neptune has just turned retrograde. And when outer planets go retrograde, we don't necessarily see something showing up in our physical world, but we feel work that we need to do internally, right? And Neptune is about our spirituality. It is about music and faith, and it can also be somewhat of a deceptive energy. So as it goes retrograde, as we go internal, if we've been wearing rose-colored glasses, the energy spikes whenever a planet goes retrograde initially. And so there's something that we really need to see on Tuesday. There is some kind of secret that can be revealed. There's information that's brought to the surface, right? If you think about planet changing, and this is water and underneath the sea, right? And it changes direction, it can bring something to the surface for us. So pay attention again to your intuition and let it guide you, because there's something really important that you need to see. So the other energy that we have on this day is Venus in Cancer, right? So loving family, loving your home, right? Beautifying your home. And it is speaking in harmony with Saturn, who just recently went retrograde last week. And so it is still stationed at the same degrees where it went retrograde. So we are just now understanding the work that we need to do with Saturn, and Venus comes along to influence that. Now, Saturn has us making a strong commitment to our Piscean goals. So whatever house you have this in, you're about to go through a review period that will last until the end of November. Now, Venus is love, and it's money, and love that is serious, taking money seriously, taking family commitment seriously. That's the influence that you get from Saturn. Now, Saturn will want to rein Venus in. So if you're spending too much, if you are not taking love seriously, Saturn comes in and says, okay, Venus, step up your game. This is not time for just indulging in luxuries. So there's something about that. And there's a serious commitment to be made at this time and on this day. Then, it's such a big day. We have Mercury, which is in opposition to Pluto, and it'll be here for a couple of days. So if you think about Mercury in Leo, there are speeches, for instance, that are being made by leaders, maybe young leaders, because Mercury is a young energy. And that view opposes some old power, some group dynamic that is going through some kind of a big transformation. So there's some opposing thoughts and opposing views. And whenever we have opposition energy, we need to learn how to balance these, right? So instead of being a show off with how you talk, Mercury in Leo, Pluto says to maintain your power and use it for the good of many instead of just showing off for yourself. So there is some tension as we look at Tuesday as well. All right, so I'm going to move us on. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about this day forever, and I'll think about it too much. All right, so let's move ahead, and we'll take a quick peek at Wednesday, only to call out the fact that now Mercury is still having that tense conversation, starting to move on. Mercury, of course, moves very quickly. Not as quick as the moon, but it does move quickly. And speaking of that moon, now it's moved on the other side of Jupiter as it moves through the sign of Gemini. Then we will move to Thursday. Thursday for us in America, of course, is a celebration for our independence and the 4th of July. So this is just a really feel-good day. And nothing specific going on. You're noticing there's not any bold lines, but we do see things that are starting to shape up, and we'll see that take really good shape as we move into Friday. And so this, of course, is our new moon. And so I'm going to move this ahead a few hours so you can see specifically that the sun and moon come together at 14 degrees of the sign of Cancer. And you notice as I change the time, that adjusts the rising sign. So this is moving out of that view from the Virgo perspective into the Scorpio energy. Now, the sun and moon are coming together at 14 degrees of Cancer, of course. So whenever we have a new moon, the sun and moon come together in the same sign. And since the moon is blank, it's a day where we can have an emotional reset. And this is why we create our new moon intentions when the moon is blank, right? When we can fill it with our intentions. And so when you're focused on your new moon wishes, if you work with me, you know you get 10, then you're focused on these family values, right? Things to do with home and family because of the sign of Cancer. Things to do with nurturing yourself, taking care of other people, being sensitive, maybe being cured of being overly sensitive, tuning into your intuition, right? All things that have to do with that Cancer. Now, for this sign, for instance, this new moon happens in the 8th house. So we'll break this down more as we go through all of the signs, but that means you want to set your intentions not just about Cancer, but what does it mean to have Cancer energy in your 8th house, which is the house of death and transformation, rebirth, power, fear, right? All the things because of Pluto being the ruler. So you'll want to pay attention later as I break that down by sign to figure out how you create your intentions. And you want to do them as close to this new moon energy as possible. I think it's about 3:45 technically on Pacific or Mountain Standard Time. And you'll see again, where do we have the bold lines? Well, we don't have any bold lines that are exact with the sun and moon, but we do see that the sun and moon are still having a bit of a tense conversation with the nodes of fate. And this is why I feel like whatever you want to start new at this time, it does need to be a big different change. And you need to be paying attention to where you're being guided this week, because it's going to show you what it is that needs to change. And you need to start setting your intentions to welcome in new things that are different than what you've been experiencing so far. So nodes, fate, always part of new moons or full moons, we know that they bring a new level of intensity to that energy. Now, we also see that we have this difficult energy going on between Venus and Chiron. So there, again, there's a square, change is needed, and there may be conflicts between what you want as an individual and what your family wants for you, a woman in your family specifically. Now, if you have a conflict with a woman in your family, say your mother, there could be a need for there to be some healing to happen at this time. Chiron is our own individual wounds, or there could be difficulty, an argument, and that is what creates this need for change. So that's just one of many scenarios and how that could show up. Then while we have Mars at 19 degrees, it is just 5 degrees away. So we still consider that to be within an orb of influence. And it's a sextile. It's 60 degrees away from the sign of Cancer. Mars is what motivates us, right? Causes movement, causes us to take action, causes us to want to fight for something that we value in the sign of Taurus. And it is speaking in harmony with that Saturn energy. So I always talk about Saturn and Mars together as driving a vehicle, right? So Saturn is the clutch and Mars is the gas, and it just wants to go. But Saturn's like, you have to do this just right. We're not going to take off. And if you try to take off too quickly, you flood your engine. If you've ever driven a stick, you know this. So there's some perfect balance needed at the time of this new moon, and that Saturn energy is showing you, where you need to create boundaries. And again, Saturn creates a trine. It's a very light line that you see here back to the sun, the moon, and still having that conversation with Venus, and just barely off of its retrograde point. So there is work that has begun. You're starting to see what it is that you need to do with this through the end of November. Okay, so that's some pretty powerful support for whatever new beginnings. But like I said, you really have to create a change. There has to be some healing in order for you to really succeed at the time of this new moon. So let me break it down by sign so that you can get an idea of where this new moon happens for you, what the impact is for you, and how you can potentially create your new moon wishes and set those intentions. Now, do keep in mind, if you want to better breakdown, to go read my article. I have a little bit more detail in that. But of course, booking a session with me is the best way to do this in particular. Also, you can go out and connect with my new moon hypnosis session and do that before you do your intention setting. And you just might find that being in that relaxed state, connected to your subconscious mind, you'd be amazed at how much stronger your intentions are and how much faster they actually show up in your reality. All right, so let's start with the sign of Cancer. I know I usually start with Aries, but we're going to mix it up today. So Cancer, of course, this is your new moon, and it happens in your first house. So this is a reset, right, of who you are emotionally, how people see you, how you present yourself. And there's something about you that you want to change. And maybe step into who you truly are instead of pretending you're happy with your current circumstances, how you've been dealing with your emotions. Maybe you've just been suppressing how you feel for so long now. You just don't feel like yourself anymore. So there's something significant, Cancers, that you want to change. So set intentions for how you want to be in the world, how you want people to see you, and about being genuine. All right. Gemini, for you, this happens in your second house. So this is new beginnings, all about the money you make, right? So this can be new changes at work, setting intentions to have a job that you enjoy and you want to do in a way that, again, allows you to truly express who you are. Then we move on to Taurus. And Taurus, for you, this happens in your third house. And how do I know that? Because Taurus, if you consider your first house, Gemini your second, Cancer becomes your third. So this happens in your third house, Taurus. And the third house can be something to do with your siblings, your extended family members, your community. And it's how you communicate, how you think, could be taking a course. So what is it about communication, Taurus, that you need to work on? What do you want to change about your mindset? That's where you want to be setting intentions. And if you think about communicating and that Cancer energy, well, maybe you need to start communicating how you actually feel and taking into consideration other people's feelings when you have discussions with them. All right. Next up, we have Aries. So Aries, this is your fourth house. Well, fourth house is all about Cancerian energy. This is the house that rules over home and family, our ancestors. This is our foundation that lifts us up and gives us support, right? The moon is what we need to feel supported, nurtured, emotionally secure. So there's something changing at home. And again, you could be somebody who's moving out, moving away. And it could also be that there's been conflict at home and something about that conflict needs to change. So there's definitely an energy that you need to connect to on a more emotional level and take other people's feelings into consideration, specifically your families. All right. As we move into the sign of Pisces, well, Pisces, you have a lot of work going on, right? You've got now Saturn and Pisces retrograde in your sign, and they're also starting to speak to one another because 10 degrees is about the widest orb you can get out there. So you might be starting to feel, a real subtle shift and a deep knowing about something that you need to change. Well, you are a water sign, so of course this energy is harmonious for you, this new beginning. And in your fifth house, this is something that you're really passionate about. So you're ready to pursue your passions, to start something new. Now, this is your fifth house. Maybe that something new is adding to your family. Having another child, for instance, would be a fifth house goal. All right. Aquarius. This happens for you in your sixth house of the work that you do. So when you have water signs in the houses that involve work and money, I always coach people that you need to make sure you're doing work that you have an emotional connection to. You can't just fake it, right? You want to be of service to others. You want to be connected to other people, and you want to feel a part of your tribe. So there's something new you want to get started at the work you do, or you could be wanting to start something new as far as your health goes, because the sixth house also rules health. And with that square to the nodes, maybe it's time to take a more healthier approach to your body and what you're putting in it, like maybe stop eating so much junk food. Okay, let's take a look at Capricorn. So Capricorn, of course, you are the opposite sign of Cancer. So you are having a new beginning in the seventh house, which rules your marriages. It can rule business partners. It can rule contracts, really serious friendships. So there's something new beginning in that sector. But in order to start a relationship at this time, you need to change something about yourself. Instead of focusing so much on work, material goods, this is a new beginning with somebody who's very emotional and sensitive, right? Our opposite sign shows us, where we need to grow. It brings people to us with a different skill set than we have for a reason, right? To help make us whole, because it shows us what we need to add into our tool set, right? So Capricorn's very good at working hard, but has some opportunities showing their feelings to other people, for instance. So a partner who's very good at showing their feelings can teach you that. Okay. Let us take a look at the sign of Sagittarius, and this is your 8th house. So I know earlier, and when I was explaining this chart, for this rising sign of Scorpio at 20 degrees, the way this chart is shown, this is your 8th house. And this is why, unless you know your actual chart, the forecasts that I give are just general forecasts that are based on, if I put Sagittarius at 0 degrees, where would this fall? And same thing, I always am just counting ahead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 signs away. That's why this happens in your 8th house, Sagittarius. And so all those things I was discussing earlier, this is about a huge transformation. Now, it could be your partner who's going through a big transformation and they need your emotional support in order to make this big change. It could be something to do with finances, some kind of an emotional trigger financially. There's my dog. And so there could be something that they're going through that is some kind of an emotional trigger because of money. So just be prepared. But it's a really good time for you guys to have a heart-to-heart conversation about finances. Make sure you have the same goals. But there is definitely a change. Now, for some of you, you could have a partner who's offered a new job that might cause a move, right? So that would be unsettling, to say the least, for some. Then there would take on new debt, all kinds of things that are involved in that. So something pretty intense for you coming up, Sagittarius. Then we move into officially the sign of Scorpio. And you again are a water sign, so this energy is harmonious to you. It will happen in your 9th house, and the 9th house is all about growth and expansion. It's our higher mind. It's our connection to spirit, and it's where we go to expand our boundaries. That's why this also represents foreign people, foreign places, foreign countries. So there's something new involving those types of topics. Now, if we focus on the higher education part, there may be some of you who are looking to expand your knowledge, some that may be going back to college, some that may be signing up for some kind of a spiritual course that would help them in their personal spiritual journey, and then maybe also help other people. And it's a big change, right? It's something that you're pursuing that's different because of those squares to the nodes. Libra, this happens for you in your 10th house. So this is about your career. It's about your status. It's about your reputation. And so you've been doing a lot of work with that South Node going through your first house, Libras. You've letting go of things. Probably feels like so many things that are being removed or changed or emotionally released. So with this in your 10th house, there could be a significant change to your career, and maybe it's already happened. And now this is the opportunity for something new to come in, that job opportunity to show up that you just instantly know, right? Intuitively, you're like, oh my God, now I know why all these things happened, because this is my dream job. And you'll be really happy about it, but the road to get there might have been a little difficult. Okay, then Virgos, this happens for you in your 11th house. So this is new beginnings that involve your friend groups, networking groups, the internet. This is somehow you finding your tribe. Family becomes something that is created through your friendships. So there is a change, though, that's needed. And maybe you do work on a platform like this, and you have to go through some changes, and you have to trust your intuition to guide you to what kind of changes you need to make. And then the last but not least, we have Leos. And Leos, this is a 12th house new moon. And in the 12th house, this is where things are hidden. Well, with the square to the nodes, something that's hidden is coming to the surface for you so that you can respond to it. Could be hidden stories involving your family. It's definitely something from like your ancestry line that can be buried deep into your subconscious. This is a really good time to be doing shadow work that is attached to your ancestors. And of course, just normal subconscious mind work where you can release any pain that you've experienced since childhood. Like, it's time to let it go. This is not the time to continue on carrying that weight that just no longer serves you. All right. So that's a quick rundown of the new moon. Of course, to know more, you can just reach out to me and book a session. So let's move on forward and take a quick peek at Saturday. And on Saturday, you're just noticing, right, that the bold lines are fading. Still have that connection between Venus and Chiron, but Venus is starting to move on. And then you're just starting to see the formation, the beginning of Jupiter making connections with the nodes that are harmonious. So this could be a fated blessing that's coming our way that we'll talk more about next week, because you'll see on Sunday we have that good energy building up again. And this is when we'll start to see these lines getting stronger with Jupiter. We see the moon in Leo, which is speaking in harmony with the nodes. So I would expect Sunday to be a day where you're seeing opportunities. And remember, when we have opportunities, it's up to us to make the effort and take advantage of it. Sometimes it's too easy. When I see so much blue energy in a chart, there's like nothing that creates a spark, right? That makes it difficult and pushes us to want to do something different. But this is a huge opportunity today, Sunday. So don't let it slip by without taking advantage of it. All right. And then just a quick peek, like I mentioned, as we look into next week, we're going to be talking about Jupiter and Mercury both having important conversations with the nodes, things that are really helpful and supportive for us. And I would say next week is probably one of the easier weeks that we've seen so far. So we'll break it all down. Of course, we have a little bit of difficulty next weekend that we will go into, but be sure you are following me and subscribe to this channel so that you get a notification. I put these videos out weekly so that you have a chance to look at the energy for the whole week ahead. Along with, don't forget, my tarot card reading. So separately, I do a tarot card reading for the week ahead, including the new moon. So you have a tarot reading out there for you already. You want to go watch it, and you want to make sure you watch it for your sun, moon, and rising to get a really full picture of the week ahead. All right. Hopefully you found this helpful. Let me know what you think. Maybe jot down below what you're committing to as far as your new beginnings go. And I am very curious because there's a lot of interesting energy for me in the year ahead. What kind of changes, what kind of fated changes are in store for me? So I don't know it all. I enjoy learning right along each of you and seeing how the energy shows up every day. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody.